For the better part of a century, something strange has been happening in our skies. And look, this isn't science fiction we're talking about. This is a real, documented history of encounters. Encounters backed by some of the most credible witnesses you can imagine, all of it wrapped up in official secrecy. So let's peel back the layers, shall we? Let's dig into one of the biggest puzzles of our time.
Just let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about a few weird lights here and there. We're talking about tens of thousands of reports. And who are these reports from? They're from pilots, military folks, police officers. People whose entire job is to observe things clearly and accurately. Their testimony? It's the absolute bedrock of this whole thing.
And right there, that's the heart of the conflict, isn't it? It's like you've got this mountain of really solid, credible evidence on one side, and on the other, a brick wall of official denial and, honestly, ridicule. And as we're about to see, it looks like a very deliberate effort to control the story. That's the clash we're diving into.
All right, so let's crack open the evidence file. We're going to kick things off by looking at a few key cases that have just stumped people for decades. And we're starting with a big one of the most dramatic military showdowns to ever happen right over the U.S.
Okay, picture this. The year is 1942. We're just a few months past the attack on Pearl Harbor, so the entire West Coast is on a knife's edge. Then, out of nowhere, air raid sirens just start screaming across Los Angeles. But here's the thing. This isn't a drill, and whatever is up there, it's not an enemy we recognize. So for more than an hour, the military's just unloading on the sky. Thousands of anti-aircraft shells firing at this one huge object. And witnesses swear they're seeing shells burst right on it. Direct hits. But the object? It's completely undamaged. It just kind of hangs there, moving at what they called a leisurely pace before it disappears. And get this, at the same time, people are seeing smaller things zipping around at an estimated 5 miles per second. Yeah, this was definitely not a weather balloon.
All right, fast forward about a decade. We're hopping across the Atlantic now. And this time, the witnesses aren't just everyday folks on the ground. No. These are seasoned Royal Air Force pilots on a totally routine flight. And what they saw, well, it absolutely floored them.
I mean, listen to what the pilot himself said. Incredible speed. He's describing something that could stop on a dime, rotate, and then just, poof, disappear. That's just not how any known aircraft flies, not back in 1952, and you could argue not even now. And we have to remember, this isn't some rookie getting confused. This guy had tons of flight time, a long experience of air observation. Okay, this next one is a huge deal. Why? Because it's not just about seeing something weird in the sky. No, this one involves an alleged landing, physical marks left in the ground, and U.S. Air Force guys on the ground getting up close and personal with it. So this wasn't some blurry photo or a quick flash of light. We're talking about security patrols actually going into the woods to check it out. They got close enough to see a craft they couldn't identify. It was just moving silently between the trees and then took off. And when they went back the next day, they found real physical evidence, indentations in the ground, and even an audio tape from the deputy base commander where he talks about radiation readings being way, way higher than they should be.
So you've got all these mind-blowing reports from highly trained, credible people. The natural next step would be a serious public investigation, right? You'd think so. But what actually happened, at least publicly, was something completely different. Let's take a look at how the officials responded.
And this is where you really see the disconnect. It's almost unbelievable. You've got an RAF group captain, a guy with more than 1,000 flying hours, reporting a silent, intelligently controlled object. The official story? Oh, he just saw the moon. Really? Or how about multiple radar hits and pilot sightings that get fighter jets scrambled? Nope, just weather balloons. And a UFO that shuts down a whole NATO airbase? Crickets. Nothing. Sometimes you gotta wonder if the official explanations are more far-fetched than the actual sightings.
And this quote right here from the British Parliament just says it all. The public attitude was basically to laugh it off. The whole flying saucer thing was treated like a big joke. If you took it seriously, you were basically asking to be ridiculed. But was that really all that was going on?
Yeah, because while everyone was laughing about it in public, something very different was happening behind closed doors. Turns out, all that ridicule, it was the perfect cover for a very intense, very secret level of interest. I mean, look at this timeline. A pattern starts to emerge pretty much right away. An official announcement is made, and then bam, it's taken back just hours later. You have secret memos showing they're desperately looking for physical proof. Military guys are told to shut up about what they saw. And key files on the biggest cases, oops, they've been destroyed. That is not how you act if this is all just, balloony. Roswell is the poster child for this two-faced approach. To the public, the story goes from, "We caught a flying saucer," to, "Just kidding, it was a weather balloon." And it becomes a running joke, but look at what's happening internally. That weather balloon debris gets flown under armed guard to the top aviation research base. The main witness gets held by the military for a week. The crash site is stripped clean. Come on, those two stories just don't add up. They can't both be true.
And the way they did it was really systematic. We're talking about documented cases where the military just confiscated photos and film. People would send a roll of film to get developed, and it would just never arrive. You had intelligence agencies like the CIA handing out cease and desist orders to people who were about to talk. And get this, they even spread their own weird stories, a little disinformation, just to confuse everybody and make the whole subject sound completely nuts.
So all of this secrecy, right? It all leads to the deepest, most controversial question in this whole mystery. Why go to all this trouble? Why the cover-up? Well, if you listen to some of the insiders, the answer's pretty simple. It's because the big secret isn't just about weird lights in the sky. It's about recovering actual hardware. Yeah, for decades, you've had these persistent stories coming from people who claim they were there. People who say they were part of teams that recovered crashed disks, and even non-human bodies. And we're not talking about just random rumors here. These are claims from people with serious, verifiable credentials, military officers, top engineers, government consultants.
And this quote, this one is just mind-blowing. This is from a guy named Dr. Robert Sarbacher. He was a major scientific consultant for the U.S. government. And back in 1950, he flat out confirmed that, yes, the recovery of crash disks was a real thing. And the project to figure them out, he said it was classified 2 points higher than the H-bomb. Think about that. More secret than the hydrogen bomb.
So when you put it all together, you realize what's at the heart of this whole mystery. It's the key to everything. For the last 75-plus years, there hasn't been just one story. There have been two. Two completely separate histories, running at the same time. On one track, you've got the public history, the one we all know. It's all about anecdotes, hoaxes, little green men, stuff that's easy to write off as just, a weird part of pop culture. But right alongside it, there's been this other, secret history. A history of hard radar data, testimony from pilots, physical evidence, and serious investigations by the top brass in military and intelligence. This wasn't a cultural phenomenon. It was a matter of national security.
So when you lay it all out like that, the credible witnesses, the bizarre official explanations, the decades of secrecy, the claims from insiders, it all boils down to one huge question, doesn't it? What are they protecting?
I mean, what could it be? Are they trying to stop a worldwide panic? Are they hiding some kind of incredible technological advantage they got from this stuff? Or, and this is a wild thought, is the truth so far out there, so beyond what we can comprehend that they just have no idea how to even begin to tell us? We don't have the answer. But looking at all this evidence, you absolutely have to ask the question.
I want to leave you with this one last thought. It comes from a French NATO general way back in 1958, and his warning, it kind of sends a chill down your spine. He said that if we keep pretending these things don't exist, one day we might mistake them for enemy missiles, and then the worst will happen. It really brings home the stakes, ignoring what's happening in our skies. Whatever it is, it's not just a lack of curiosity. It could be a massive, catastrophic mistake. And so, the mystery continues.